Hello, everyone. This is another Black Conservative. I am Ryan Bowling. Thank you all for joining me. So, Florida Governor Ron Desantis was booed after attending a vigil for 3 black people who were shot at a I think it was a General Dollar store in Jacksonville, Florida. And he was booed for attending this. Now, the question is, why? Why was he booed? Why was he booed? Why was this man booed for attending this vigil for these 3 individuals? Here was a man that, from what I understand, is well loved in the state of Florida, but yet he was booed. Why was that? First, before I give you what I believe the reasons might be, when I read this article, my prayers go out to the individuals that lost their lives to this senseless crime. It has been shown that the crime was racially motivated. And we're seeing a lot of that now. We're seeing a lot of these mass shootings, per se, rather. We're seeing a lot of these mass shootings taking place all over this country. And it seems like no one seems to be asking relevant questions. What is going on? Why do we keep having all these mass shootings? But I'm not going to get into that. I've talked about that in previous videos. The elites are not going to address that. They're not. You know, I believe, in my opinion, that a lot of this stuff is planned on a much, much deeper and darker level, but I'm not going to get into that in this video. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read through this article, and then I'm going to give you why I believe he was booed, why I believe Governor Ron DeSantis was booed. So let's get right into this. Once again, my prayers go out to the family members of the deceased, and I pray that God give them grace and strength in this hour of bereavement. But the article goes on to say, Floridians booed Governor Ron DeSantis on Sunday as he attended a vigil for 3 victims of what has been deemed a racially motivated attack that occurred at a Dollar General store in Jacksonville on Saturday. The shooter carried out the racially motivated attack in a predominantly black neighborhood. According to reports, the shooter, who murdered 3 people before committing suicide, reportedly left behind a manifesto. Have you noticed this? All of these mass shootings, just about all of them, the shooter either puts himself into a position where he gets shot by the police on purpose, or they shoot themselves. Think about that. Why do they keep shooting themselves? There's a reason for that, but I'm not going to get into that in this video. That's people wouldn't be able to handle that. So let's go on. Says Jacksonville Sheriff T.K. Waters said the shooter, quote, hated black people, but said there was, quote, absolutely no evidence the shooter is part of any larger group. He hated blacks, and I think he hated just about everyone that wasn't white, Waters said. He made that very clear. Excuse me. According to reports, the shooter first stopped at Edward Waters University, but a student flagged him for looking suspicious, prompting a security officer to confront him. The shooter then left the campus and unleashed carnage elsewhere. We don't know, obviously, what his full intentions were, but we do know that he came here right before going to Dollar General. Excuse me. Edward Waters University president and CEO Dr. A. Zachary Faison Jr. said, members of our university security team reacted almost immediately. I think the reports are in less than 30 seconds after he made contact and drove onto our campus. All 3 victims of the shooting were black, and DeSantis strongly condemned the crime. And he did. The shooting, based on a manifesto that they discovered from the scumbag who did this, was racially motivated. He was targeting people based on their race. This is totally unacceptable, DeSantis said, adding more on social media. So he did respond to it, and I actually listened to the actual speech that he gave. You know, there's a video of it in the article in Our News. You guys can go to the description box and you can listen to the video yourself. But he did give that, and his statements were strong. And it seemed to indicate that he really cared and that he really was against this racially motivated act. But after all, there was another video that you could hear people booing him. And in fact, they booed him in such a way that he literally, someone else took over the microphone and began to speak on his stead. So the question, but once again, the question is why? Why are these people booing him? Because 90% of the people there were black, obviously. But why? Why was they booing him? Because was he white? Let's see. Is it because he's white? I don't. But let's find out. Here's something else that he stated too. Here's something else that Ron DeSantis stated on X, formerly Twitter. Following the horrific racially motivated murders near Edwards Waters University on Saturday, I have directed Volunteer of Florida to quickly provide $1 million to support campus security needs at the university and $100,000 to help the families of the victims. I think that's pretty generous. I think that's way better than what Biden did. Oh my God, how come people don't see this? Way better than what Biden did by giving $700 to the families that lost their homes and perhaps lost family members too and lost their homes and lost their possessions. He gives $700 to each of them. But Ron DeSantis gives $100,000 to help the families of the victims. Now, 3 people were shot and killed. $100,000 divided between them 3, I think that's cool. I think that's sufficient. So this seems to indicate that he really cares. And then it says, and then he says he directed Volunteer Florida to quickly provide $1 million in support to support campus security needs at the university, to support their campus needs, probably better training, better armed security. He's doing something about it. But let's go on. Let's see what's going on here. However, DeSantis attended a vigil for the victims on Sunday and was greeted with hostility from some as his introduction was overshadowed by overwhelming boos. "You're not welcome here," one individual said. The boos continued as he tried to speak to the crowd before one individual screamed, "Your policies caused this." Now let's see what they mean, what I think they're talking about when in terms of policies, right? Councilwoman, I got you. Don't worry about it. We've already been looking to identify funds to be able to help one security at Edward Waters College. We're not going to allow these institutions to be targeted by people, DeSantis said through the boos, which he did. It ain't about parties today. A bullet don't know a party, Councilwoman Jacoby Pittman later told the crowd. Yeah, of course you're going to tell the crowd that. You want to stir the crowd up to anger. I'm wondering if she was a Democrat. I'm pretty sure she was. Lee, just playing on people's. She like the religion, the Pharisees and Sadducees in the Gospels in Jesus' day. They stirred up the crowd to have Jesus crucified, even though Jesus Christ was innocent. The religious leaders stirred up the crowds to make them angry and emotional, so that they would not deal with the situation in a logical way. They would not look at the evidence. This is what this lady is. She's nothing more, whether she's a Democrat or Republican. I suspect she's a Democrat, a liberal, stirring up the people, because it says in the article that she said this to the crowd. Let me get them all angry. Forget about logic and reason. Forget about the fact that he's going to give this money to these families. Forget about all that. No, you're angry. A bullet is not going to bring back. Man, come on. Oh, I hate these people, man. I hate them. Lord have mercy. I can't stand these liberal politicians. That's who is either a liberal politician or a rhino. People sick. If the governor wanted to come here, if the governor wanted to come here and he bring in gifts to my community, you all know I'm taking the gifts because we've been through enough already, she added. Yeah, of course you're taking the gifts because you're a hypocritical, scumbag, degenerate lowlife. That's why you're taking the gifts. You was all that standard and all that. If your convictions was all that great, you wouldn't take the money because you would think it's a scam. You wouldn't take it. You're taking it because you're a scumbag. That's why. Anyway, DeSantis here's the reason why I think that they booed him. The crowds booed him. It says, DeSantis has come under criticism for months over his state weeding out critical race theory, or CRT, in school. More recently, the Florida Department of Education has come under fire for its newly approved Black History program, which says that slaves gain skills, quote, which in some instances could be applied for their personal benefit, end quote. The department has defended the state's newly approved Black History program, asserting it is, quote, based on truth, end quote, and, quote, builds on our continued efforts since 2019 to teach our students unbiased African-American history, unquote, end quote. And that is the end of that article right there. Now, here's why I believe that he was booed. I don't believe that Governor Ron DeSantis was booed because They don't think he cared. He's going to donate a large sums of money to the security department in that area, and large sums of money to the families of the deceased. Clearly he cares, okay, at least from that perspective. But why would they boo them? I believe that they booed him based on the emotional stirring of critical race theory, how the left and the liberal media and liberal politicians stirred up the people, particularly in the black community, to come against Ron DeSantis without educating themselves about what critical race theory is all about, and made them think that he's trying to water down slavery and water down the horrors of slavery here in America. Okay. Now, I already did a video on Ron DeSantis defending his pushing away critical race theory curriculum into Black history programs in Florida. I already supported him for that. So you can watch, you guys can watch the previous videos that I gave on that. I gave very detailed analysis of what it is all about and why I defended him. But I believe they booed him because of the stirring from the liberal mainstream media and the stirring of liberal politicians that oppose Ron DeSantis' policies concerning critical race theory in the schools. And because a significant number of black people in Florida, the way I see it, didn't do any research or reading on their own and understanding what critical race theory is, they boo your policies. As it says, your policies is what's caused this. Really? Really? Do you even know what a policy is? How is it his policy, because this is what I suspect that they're talking about. How is it his policy of getting rid of critical race theory out of the Black history programs in the school systems in Florida how is that prompted this man, which is clearly, according to the information that I've read here and according to other videos, clearly racially motivated? How is that so? Because if you really understand, how did that rather prompt him to want to kill innocent black people? Because if you understand critical race theory, okay, I said this before, and I'm going to say it here again. If you study true critical race theory, it stemmed in the 1970s. That's when it really started. But critical race theory actually is a derivative of what is known as critical theory, which came from the Frankfurt School of Marxism in Frankfurt, Germany in the 1920s. And the Frankfurt School Marxists migrated here to America in the 1930s because of Hitler's takeover of Germany at that time. These Frankfurt School Marxists were communists, but they were communists of the quiet, nonviolent type. They believed that in order to get people to accept communist worldviews, you had to change their worldview psychologically. So when they infiltrated the school systems, they used a very sophisticated concept known as critical theory. Essentially, critical theory is basically, I'm putting it in layman terms, is when they take a accepted belief system that's been generally accepted all over the country, whether it's a biblical worldview or a worldview, accepted worldview on math, or accepted worldview on history, or accepted worldview on science. What critical theory does is it breaks all of these things down, critiques all of these things, not for the purpose of getting an understanding, but the purpose of critical theory is to tear these things down, to tear these structures down, to deconstruct them in order to rebuild them into something totally different and thus cause division. Critical race theory is a derivative of critical theory. Critical race theory teaches the idea that white people are inherently racist simply because they're white, and black people are inherently oppressed simply because they're black. Now, if you believe that, then that's your problem. Okay? If you believe that and you accept that, that's your problem. I don't accept it because I don't believe it's true, because I've studied up on it. It's a lie. Ron DeSantis understands that. So he got rid of that type of curriculum that was being brought into the Black History programs. Telling white people and white children that you are racist simply because you write white is wrong. Telling black people that they are oppressed and they are victims of the oppressor white man simply because you black and you have the lesser race is wrong and it's untrue. It is designed to cause division in order to foster a revolution without the communists coming in with guns blazing. That's what that's all about. And that's what it's all have been for decades in America, in schools all over this country. So this whole idea of them booing him, I believe they booed him because the liberals, who basically accept this nonsense of critical race theory, stirred up the crowds like the religious leaders did in the Gospels when it came to crucifying Christ, stirred them up to an emotional intensity where they weren't thinking. And then they said, hey, you know what? It's your policies that have done this. Half of these people don't even know what the heck policies they're even talking about. Do some research. Or if you're not going to do any research, do a little reading and you might learn something, people. Not saying you people that's watching this here. You might learn something. That's what critical race theory is. Now, let me say something before I close this video. Because those who have tried to push this critical race theory forum in the Black History programs in Florida and in a lot of states and cities too, they know people are on top of them. So what they do is they rebrand or give it a different title. They don't call it critical race theory. What they call them now is things such as ethical studies or social studies or ethical studies or race studies. They'll call it something like that to make it more acceptable to the people. But it's highly sophisticated, highly deceptive. When you begin to research and study, you find out it's the same process designed to cause white people to be horribly guilty and black people to get angry in order to foster a revolution. Now, you can argue that this may have caused, you could say, well, this what's caused this guy to want to shoot these three people? I don't think so. I think he was just a nutbag, crazy person. It's possible. He could take that whole idea and think that, okay, hey, you know what? You guys think that I'm inherently racist, right? Think about it. You guys think that I'm inherently racist. Okay, I'm going to play on that. You think I'm inherently racist and I'm inherently evil simply because I'm white? Okay, all right. Let me go and kill a bunch of innocent black people. That could be argued, but I don't think that's sufficient. I think this person is just a horrible, evil, messed up person who decided to kill 3 innocent people. But I also think that there are other deeper, more evil, more sinister reasons why this happened. But I'm not going to get into that in this video. You can look at some former videos that I gave more detailed analysis on what I think all these shooters are from. Let me end it on this. I think a lot of these shooters are programmed shooters. I'm just going to leave it right there. I'm going to leave it right there. Do your own research and reading. Okay? And he could be one of them. But I personally don't believe at all that Ron DeSantis's policies in terms of taking critical race theory out of the Black history programs in the schools was part of that caused it. That's baloney. That's just something the liberals are trying to stir the people up about to get them angry at Ron DeSantis. It's a bunch of nonsense. Okay. Now, Ron DeSantis may be failing on the campaign trail to be the president, but that's another video all by itself. He may not be doing really good on that. But here instead of Florida, no, I don't think so. I don't think that was all. But that's what I had to say about that. What do you guys think? Leave your comments in the comment section below. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel. God bless you all, and see you again.